Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Public comment. Mandy?
Public comment is an opportunity for members of the public to address the Board of Directors on any subject matter that is not on the meeting agenda and is within the board's subject matter jurisdiction. Public comment periods are limited to 3 minutes per person, and the total amount of time for public comment is 15 minutes. Persons participating by way of video conference or teleconference shall ensure their audio is muted at all times except when the board chair announces public comment periods. At those designated times, members of the public wishing to speak shall enable their audio and state their name for the record. When multiple members of the public wish to speak, the clerk will determine the order of speakers and announce their names accordingly. To ensure proper conduct, the board reserves the right to mute the audio and video of any member of the public violating generally accepted principles and decorum of official public meetings, and we do not have any virtual or in-person public comment.
No one here wants to speak in public? Okay, great. Consent items.
Approve. I'll second.
Anyone have any comments on the consent items? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you. Okay, discussion items. Consider adopting resolution number 2025-10, approving the following for Yuba Water local grant matches of the following Yuba County projects. Let me see here. Creighton.
Good morning, Creighton Avila, project manager here at Yuba Water Agency. First, I want to just give a little overview. Been working with the county on some of these grants that they've been getting. They've been provided a great opportunity by the state, and wanted to have Sam Button here from the county to go ahead and explain that. But to encapsulate it, it is a savings about $1.2 million, or sorry, $3.2 million, and more work being done in the Olivehurst area. So let me bring Sam up.
Good morning to the board, and thanks to Creighton and staff for supporting us in getting here. It's an honor to be able to present this to you today. So I'm Sam Button, Yuba County Public Works. This item includes 2 projects, the Olivehurst Roadway Climate Resiliency Projects, phases 1 and 2. Quite the mouthful, so forgive me as I try to get through those. And then to help visualize the location and magnitude of the projects, we have a map on the screen. I'm gonna try to see if I can get the laser pointer to work so I can show you guys some things. So in red are the streets today that have been improved in drainage or with drainage and sidewalk projects, either by developers or grant funded projects. So this is, you'll see some of the major north and south, like Olivehurst Avenue and Powerline, as well as a portion of McGowan Parkway to the south. Shown in green are the streets that were included in the original phase 1 project. Phase 1 was the biggest grant that Public Works has ever received, largely due to Yuba Water Agency, and improves the drainage in roadways on 13 different streets. In 2023, Public Works applied for $38,540,000 from the California Transportation Commission, or CTC, and $9,938,000 from Yuba Water Agency to complete this project. The CTC grant program was created using state and federal dollars, but fortunately for us, there was a surplus of state funds at the time. I know there's been deficit talks in years past, but at the time there was a surplus of state funds. So, and luckily the CTC came back to us and fully funded our project with state funds, including the local cost share. One nuance to this was we had to accelerate our project, and the project is currently moving along very rapidly, and we anticipate having design complete 2026. Phase 2, shown in purple, improves the drainage and roadway on Ardmore Avenue from McGowan Parkway to 9th Avenue and capitalizes on Phase 1 to get closer and completing the infrastructure in Olivehurst. This project is approximately 1 mile long and is estimated to cost about 12.9 million or 12,892,000 in total, with a local cost share of 2,192,000. This project will likely start design sometime between this summer and 2026, with a construction timeframe of 2028 or 2029. In short, the current Yuba Water Agency grant for the Olivehurst Roadway Climate Resiliency Phase 1 project is $9,938,000. The county has been fortunate to receive additional state funds from the CTC and anticipates a savings of $5,368,000 for the project. The remaining funds will help us continue to accelerate design, cover any anticipated shortfalls, and support the urgent need to relocate sewer and water facilities. As well, the county has been successful in a grant award for the Olivehurst Roadway Climate Resiliency Project Phase 2 and requests to include Phase 2 in the grant agreement using $2,192,000 in funds to complete the project. This would modify the Yuba Water Agency grant agreement obligation from $9,938,000 to $6,762,000 and be a net savings in the amount of $3,176,000. So forgive me, I know that was a lot of long acronyms and a lot of numbers, but I'm happy to help answer any questions that the board may have.
Is there a phase 3?
Hopefully, so right now as well, we're working on a master drainage plan, or it's got a fancy capital improvement plan name, but so basically a master drainage plan for the Olivehurst and Linda areas that'll also help us set up future projects for grant funding. So there's no defined limits to a phase 3, but we are working on developing that project.
Any other questions from the board? Anyone from the public have any input? No? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Next item, consider approval of grants for a total amount of $619,765 pursuant to the Community Impact Grant and Loan Program policy for the March 2025 application window. And this is going to be presented by Terry Daly.
Good morning, board. Thank you for, I always appreciate being able to introduce this item because it's a fun one. So just to refresh your memories and to share with the public, it was a couple of years ago that we changed our grant, you changed your grants policy. We used to have 2 windows of grant applications where all the applications came in. And now we've divided it into 2 kinds of grants. One are basically water supply and flood risk reduction, primarily they're infrastructure grants. Those can come to you anytime during the year because most of the time it's asking our board for the local match to get a state grant or a federal grant. And we want to be able to meet the time requirements of those. So those you see all year long. You've had a couple just in the past month. The second kinds of grants, I just called community improvement grants, kind of really loosely. And for those grants, there is one grants application window now. It goes from February 1st to the end of March. And so the grants you're seeing today are a result of that application process. And it was heard by the POD committee just a couple of weeks ago. We have 6 different areas that we give grants out. And each of those areas is headed by a program manager on our staff. We have flood risk reduction, water supply, those are primarily the infrastructure ones, watershed resilience, water conservation, water education, and the Bill Shaw grants. Now, when I say each of these has a program manager, they do. It's kind of under that all other duties as assigned, because every one of our program managers is also our manager of water supply or our flood risk reduction manager or some other job. And they've taken these areas on so that we can better work with the grant applicants, to meet their needs. So this morning you are going to hear from, and I think you all have a spreadsheet so you can follow along with the grants that are coming to you today. First, you're going to hear from Kyle Morgado. Kyle is our program grants manager for water supply. Then you'll hear from Sammy Nall. She is our grants program manager for flood risk reduction. You'll hear from Creighton Avila, who is our grants program manager for water education. Then you'll hear from Jackie Silman, and Jackie has double duty as a grants program manager. She handles the water conservation area, and she handles all the Bill Shaw grants. And I do want it, so they're just going to run through them very quickly what they are. I do want to point out to you that most of the grant applicants are represented in the audience today, and they may want to add comments. So I'm going to kick it over to Kyle, and then we'll just go through to Sammy, to Creighton, to Jackie.
Member Board and President or Chairman Messick. I'm going to start with the Camptonville Community Services District Operational Sustainability Plan. This is, as we continue our grant process with the agencies around the county, we want to make sure that the capital improvements and the help that we give the different agencies in the county, that we are making them also have the ability to be operationally sustainable into the future on their own. So this first grant here is to create an operational sustainability plan for Camptonville CSD to look into what they need to become self-sufficient and make sure the projects that they go forward with will feed into their operational sustainability. We want to just do both of them. And then secondly, North Yuba-Water District water tank security fencing. We had a grant that helped them out with DWR on redoing all of their water tanks and upgrading them from the old wooden tanks. The only thing with those was they're still open to the public, basically, that there's no security fencing. So we have a major project to encircle all four of the tanks that contain treated domestic water to secure them from any types of vandalism. And that'd be a 50% cost share on that project. Those are our two water supply projects. And we do have Katie Burdick here if you guys have any more questions.
Any questions of the board on those two items? No? Okay. Thank you, Kyle. Are we going to do this individually or in each one, or just all at the end? Well, why don't we hear from everybody, and then if any director wants to pull one item off and do it individually, we will.
Did we have any public comment from any of the two people receiving this first?
He said they're here if we have questions.
Okay.
Okay. Sammy?
Good morning, Sammy Nall, Flood Risk Manager for Yuba Water. Thank you very much for having us here. So my project, or the project I'm talking about, is the Unit 8 Bear River Relief Well Abandonment and Replacement. So RD 784's relief well system is made up of about 82 relief wells and function to reduce the seepage uplift forces and reduce the potential for erosion along the levee foundation within RD 784. This project specifically is to abandon and to replace one of these wells. And so we are proposing a 50% cost share with RD 784 for this grant. RD 784 was not able to be here, but I can represent them. They were here for the pod committee, and they did show their appreciation or express their appreciation for our consideration of this grant. Any questions?
Any questions of the directors? Oh, no one? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sammy. So water education. Great.
Morning.
Morning.
Again. Creighton Avila, your water education manager. In front of you here today is a salmon expedition tours. This is going to be a one-year grant. The last time we came to you, it was on a 3-year grant. During that time period, Circle was able to get to 1,449 students. That is above their goal of 1,250. We came to you last year to get an increase of about 276 students to get us to all 4th graders in Yuba County. So this is a 1-year grant. We'll be working with them to kind of honing in now that we've gotten to every 4th grader in the county with hours and things like that. So, but this will be a 1-year grant after we had done a 3-year grant. Any questions on that?
Chair, no question, but just a comment. Wanted to thank staff and Circle for working hard to get the 4th graders in Plumas Lake and Wheatland on board. I know there were some challenges with that early on, but it's great, and I have appreciated going with them the last few years. So,
Through the chair,
Yes.
I'd like to see them actually video some of this stuff to kind of give the board an idea of what the kids think of this whole thing, you know. May just be yelling and screaming and splashing, but I think we'd enjoy it.
I've seen videos and pictures on social media from last year, so I think they are doing.
I think
Yeah.
it'd be good.
Have
for
it
the
come
board.
back to the board
Yeah,
presentation.
yeah.
That'd be
Back
cool.
to
I'm already signed up to go with Browns Valley School in September. So, yeah.
I think
And Monique with Circle, I believe, is online as well.
Okay.
Is
Any
she?
other?
oh, Aaron is online, it looks like.
We do have a virtual public comment after Willie.
Director Vasquez, totally understand you'd like to see a video as a metric to see the success of the program. I think we can make that happen. I think we could ask Dee Dee and our comms team to send Alex on 1 or 2 of the events if he doesn't already go and get some specific video for you guys to bring back. I think that'd be great. We can absolutely make that happen. My joke to you, Chairman Messick, to take your video camera. Joke. But if you do take some video, let us know and we'll integrate it into the presentation.
I don't have a video camera, but if the water
use your
agency
phone.
has one.
I know you have a phone, you use it every day.
Not
I
taking my phone in the river.
receive the other end of it.
okay.
All right, so did you say we had a comment?
Correct. I'll unmute them.
Okay.
Aaron, you can talk now.
Aaron's there.
Thanks all. Aaron Zellerman, Executive Director from Circle. I know Monique is also on, but driving right now. So I wanted to appreciate it and wanted to emphasize, yeah, we can work on more video. And there is a standing invite for any of you that would like to come out and see it firsthand. A video is good, but actually being out there and hearing the excitement and the voices and doing the lessons is really the best way to experience the salmon expeditions.
Thank you, Aaron.
Through the chair. It's a good arm workout too with the paddling. So for those who haven't gone.
Oh, Monique, I'm unsigning up now if I have to paddle. All right, any other comments from the directors? Questions?
Through the
Right.
chair.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you guys for putting that on because I was able to go on last year on a tour with my daughter's class and they're a Sutter County school, so I'm not sure how that worked out. I didn't have anything to do with it, but it was a great experience. There's lots of video out there, so I think if we just asked for people to pile that on to our social media, then you'd see what's going on out there. It's pretty great. So, and then they also they do a lot of education. It's not just on the river. They do some engagement before the trip. They do engagement after the trip. So the kids get a lot out of it. Appreciate it.
Director House hit that perfectly. You know, one of the big changes between before and then the 3-year grant was interaction with students before and after. So excellent addition.
Go ahead, Willie.
Director House, you mentioned your daughter's classes from Sutter County, and since we have Monique and Aaron on, maybe they can clarify this, but the way I understand it is Yuba Water Agency sponsors the Yuba County students, but Circle provides this tour for other counties as well, including Sutter and Nevada and maybe other counties. But Aaron or Monique just want to clarify that's part of your program and that's accurate. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, we provide it to, a number of, we provide tours to Nevada County students as well. But this proposal, this funding package is just for Yuba County schools and students.
Excellent, Aaron. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a comment, John. Since we have Aaron and Monique, I would just like to thank Circle for organizing this and carrying it out. I think our part, writing a check is the easy part. To come up with this program and keep it going with their staff is the hard part, and we need more partners like that. So thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Anyone else from the public want to comment on that? Okay. Thanks, Creighton.
Thank you.
Water education, are you doing the next one too, for OPED? Or is Jackie doing that?
Tag teamed on that one.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Okay, we do have two under the water conservation and one additional under water education. So the first one is the Olifers Public Utilities District, a water safety education. As you know, that is the home, Olifers is the home to the only pool that is open in the summer for the kids in Yuba County. They have been able to work alongside with First Five Yuba County and Yuba County Health and Human Services and raised $56,000 through their grant funding. And they are asking, of course, today for their $20,000 from us. So this is designated to promote water safety within the community. Over the past 5 years, we've worked hard. We're going to be working with Swornjeet on trying to come up with a more sustainable program or process where they can stay open and not have to worry so much about the funding. So that is the first one. You want me to just keep going, Chairman? Yes. Okay.
Well, let's see if anybody has any questions on that one. Do you have any questions or comments?
The cool. I think that would really, really help. Things the government does is it doesn't show people the happier side of what we do. I would really like to see that because so many people here saying nothing's happening in Yuba County. Excuse me.
Well, and let me also share, speaking about Yuba County and the great things, the Yuba County One Stop is actually paying for the lifeguards this year through their funding and doing all the training. So that's going to save some financial for the OPED as well. So there's been some great collaboration coming together for the future.
Okay, we'll expect a video.
All right. Well, Swornjeet is here, and I think he'll make that happen.
Good.
I'd like to make a comment also that programs like this, it's amazing how many people go through life without being able to learn to swim. And these programs teach the younger people to be able to swim and would save many lives over their lifetimes.
And they have been doing an amazing job on the marketing. I've seen it over and over and over again about the free swimming lessons. So that's really exciting too. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Thank you again for the program, but I'd love to see this thing grow, like you're saying, to a more substantial model. So we're not just doing operational costs every year. So it's a budget item and it's something that can be funded because we're keeping people out of the Yuba River. We're educating the kids on how to swim if they do get into the river. And I mean, Yuba City has a pretty awesome facility, but our challenge is transportation for our low-income folks in Yuba and Olivehurst. And we just need to, I think we need to push some more on that, maybe become a community partner in it where it's a Yuba water facility or something like that.
Okay.
I know nobody will agree with me on that, but it would be awesome.
It helps, the video.
There's lots of good ideas being floated around, I will tell you. So, we ready for the next one?
Yep.
Okay. So the next one is Camptonville Community Services. This is their water district. They have 5 holding tanks, each requiring upkeep to ensure the water remains pristine and potable. So literally, they have employees that have to go up and skim, and that's what they've been doing for many years. So Elizabeth Zapata reached out, and we do have, I think Ted is here. Yeah, Ted is here to share that they would love to have some cordless water skimmers at the cost of $1,800, right around $1,800. So that was a request that came through that it's really water conservation under that. So if you have any questions, Ted is here.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Before and after would be nice, show the skimming before.
See the
and after.
employees. Okay.
Automatically.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so we're going to move on to Bill Shaw.
Yeah. You
Okay.
doing Bill Shaw as well, Jackie?
I am.
Great.
And may I say I'm honored to do Bill Shaw. Number one, to be able to meet him and to be able to be the program manager on this is really touching to me. So I'm going to try to go through them. There are a couple I wanted to share. We do have a trauma intervention program here, and there was a request, which I think is great, to have just a very short presentation to you as when we get to her spot. So the first one was Dobbins Oregon House Fire Department, and they're looking for an extraction rescue tool, which is really somewhat like the jaws of life. Did you want me to read more or just kind of just go through, or?
I think, why don't you, if anybody has any questions, they can.
Okay.
How can we do this, Jackie? If you go through here line by line and somebody has a question, would it be all right to interrupt you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Please.
And you guys, if you have a question on any of these ones that she's presenting, she can go into more detail.
Great.
Going in.
All right, so that's Dobbins Oregon House and Foothill Fire Protection District. They're looking for tower lights, radios, etc. Linda Fire Department, and we do have Chief Kyle here, water rescue equipment, and this is more on the line of the drone that they need. And he actually shared a small story. I'm not sure if he wants to share, but how he found out why he needed to have this so bad. The trauma intervention program, this one is a new one to Bill Shaw grants. They are first responders. So I do, if you allow just a few minutes, for Kimberly would like to come up and just share some statistics from Yuba County of how many they've served in the last 5 years with this program. So Kimberly, you want to? She's nervous.
All right. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here. And I just want to thank you for inviting us to apply for this grant. It really means a lot to us. So I did some research on our calls over the last few years. In 2021, we had 443 calls for the year, 200 of them being from a Yuba County agency. In 2022, we went to 503, with 260 being Yuba County, and 520 in 23, with 262 being from Yuba County. And last year we ended with 540 calls, with 290 being from Yuba County. And this year we're on track to exceed 600. So we definitely have seen an increase in utilization from our first responder agencies. We have also entered into a recent partnership with Rideout with their patient experience team. And what that has done is it allows us to support and promote the patient experience at the hospital so that their survey results are approved.
Okay, through the chair. I don't think they understand that you're a volunteer organization.
Oh, yeah. So
And
we are a volunteer organization. There are currently 22 volunteers that make up all of TIP, including myself and Lisa Marie. And we are available to respond 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to all of Yuba and Sutter counties. Currently, we support 35 agencies with everything that we do. I will say our volunteer count, unfortunately, has kind of continued to go down year over year as the calls are going up year over year. So it has put a lot more pressure and stress on the volunteers that we do have. So this grant would be very impactful for us to be able to hopefully have more training and be able to recruit new volunteers.
thank you very much. I'm glad you applied. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is a very important program in our community. So the next one is Wheatland Fire Authority, and Chief Art is here, and I wanted to share, this is for portable radios and radio components that will match so they all can hear each other, through the county. But I wanted to share just a really cool story, if you'll allow me. He originally called and he's great about asking before he even applies, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And he needed it's called a Lucas CPR portable device. I was like, oh, I don't know. Sometimes you have to really look at those things. And so of course I went to my boss, Terry, and she said, well, let's think about it. Let's put our hats together. So I went back and I talked with Art and I said, well, you know, what about this? What about that? I happened to see, and I'm going to say Wayne Bishop because it wasn't in your capacity of anything other than a friendship, and said, what do you think about this? And he said, let me think about it. So I know he had gone to his family, and Chief Art went to the Brophy, I think it's Brophy Fire Department. And because of that, through the city of Wheatland, through the funding that the Bishop family, they were able to buy that Lucas device. So it's, again, when you collaborate and put your head together and figure it out, because I was just heartbroken that I knew we couldn't do it, but it was nice to see everybody come together. And I personally want to thank Wayne too, as Art always does. So that's Wheatland Fire, Yuba County Mounted Sheriffs, waterproof gear, Hamptonville Volunteer Fire Department. They also are looking for radios and pagers. In the Yuba County Sheriff's Department, they need a new drone matrix, and the Smartsville Fire Protection personal protective equipment, which when he was at our pod, it was many, many years old. They haven't been able to replace. And that is it.
All right. Any questions of any of the directors?
Through the chair.
Yeah, go ahead, Andy.
Would the Linda Fire Department tell us about their request for a drone?
Oh.
I really, you know, we don't know.
Yeah, no.
We only see it on the news.
I think he has a pretty cool story of. Sorry, I put you on the spot, didn't I?
Good morning, board. Thank you very much for having me here today. Again, Kyle Heckstrom, Fire Chief for Linda Fire Protection District. I did tell the story a couple times to a couple people. We have seen a huge increase in technology in the fire service, including drones, unmanned aerial vehicles, software. And I tell this story. Last year, we had a number of water rescues in both the Yuba River and the Feather River. And one specifically was an individual who had went in the river, and we requested an actual helicopter to assist with our operation. It took 30 minutes for the helicopter to get there, and within 1 minute, the helicopter identified the individual in the water, and we could execute a rescue. So we talked about that in length, that if we can get some eyes in the sky, a drone up, and we can see and do a quick search, we can make these rescues a lot quicker in both the watershed and other areas of concern, including an aircraft collision we had recently in the river bottoms. We could have got a drone up and searched the area thoroughly. It's a lot quicker to make these searches with a drone or some kind of other aerial vehicle. So that's my request, and I wanted to share that story with the board.
You know, through the chair, there's a big difference between 30 minutes standing beside the river and 30 minutes in a very cold river as far as rescue time.
Yeah, correct. And we had vessels in the river. We had multiple watercraft, both jet skis and boats, trying to do a search. But again, just being above the water and being able to see directly down is a lot better vision.
Timing is everything, right?
Yes, sir.
So Kyle, I wanted to make a comment too. One of my other hats is I'm commander of the Yuba-Sutter Sheriff's Aero Squadron, and we can get a plane up fairly quickly anytime as well, but the request has to go through the Sheriff's Department. So if you guys were wanting to have somebody help, you'd have to call the Sheriff's Department, and they would call us, and we'd get a plane up. But as also, we've been having these fundraising dinners, and we plan on buying a drone too to support the Sheriff's Department in both Yuba and Sutter counties, their drone programs, search and rescue. A couple of us have gone up, and it's kind of intimidating. I can fly a helicopter, but a drone scares me. So did a drone training with them and learned how to fly a drone. It was quite simple, a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So we're going to be getting that too, and could be of service. If you need a backup, our thought is if you have a drone out there and you call us and you need to come in and change batteries, we could go and take ours up or whatever. So keep that in mind when you're doing rescues. I've unfortunately found a dead lady on the Yuba River for the Sheriff's Department several years ago, and really it took me a minute. I took off and circled, and there she is, and walked them right to her and landed. I think I was in the air for 15 minutes. So.
Well, thank you for that. And again, there has been a lot of good partnerships with both the Yuba County Sheriff's Department assisting. I know the Wheatland Fire Authority has offered their assistance. They also have a drone program. So I think it's becoming very common, and those resources are great when we can work together.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Thanks, Kyle.
That was it.
All right. Okay, so that was the entire presentation. And is there any questions on any one item or two items or any items? None?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Okay, thank you. Manager's report. All right. Skip anything? No.
Couple more items.
Receive and file an update on the energy risk management activities and review the ERM annual report for 2023 and 2024. Creighton.
Yeah, Mandy, can you help me with a?
My phone ringing.
All right. Creighton Avila, project manager here at Yuba-Water, and in capacity today is working on your energy sales team, marketing team. Today, we're going to give you a report on 23 and 24 in the markets. In the past, and why are we doing 23 and 24? In the past, we were doing it in fiscal years. We've changed as a recommendation from our risk committee because the bilateral products that we sell, and we've talked about this before, is RA, REC credits, and carbon-free are sold on a calendar year. And because of that, reporting on the calendar year, we wanted to come back to you and report on these products in a calendar year basis. So when you look at 23 and 24 on here, the reason why we're doing that is because the last time we came to you was a fiscal year and we wanted to cover those years. All right, we'll go ahead and start with Andy Richmond. Go ahead and take you through the first part of the presentation.
She's so tall. All right. Morning, Andy Richmond, Energy Market Analyst here at Yuba-Water. Also celebrating 6 years ago today, I started as an intern. So kind of exciting to be here with you guys today. So we're gonna talk about energy risk management and that policy. So this just talks about what the ERM policy is, and it's our rules and parameters about selling our hydro generation and other products in the open market. We're responsible for determining and finding mitigation measures to ensure we're reducing risk in a variety of places to make sure we're earning the most bang for our buck and protecting the project and our assets the best we can. So our most recent policy, we're in policy 5.0. This was adopted by the committee in August of 2023. And most of these updates were based on our newest agreement with Shell Energy, who is our scheduling coordinator. So what they do is they are the liaison between us and the CAISO grid. So when we do any communications with the CAISO, it's done through Shell. So we updated that contract with a variety of things, taking out some legacy products that we weren't using anymore, reducing the fees that we paid to them monthly, and giving us some more independence on selling those bilateral products that Creighton mentioned, the RA, carbon-free, and the RECs. We also created this energy marketing team, which is a small committee that we go through and look at all the sales that we do to do those bilateral sales now that we have the ability to do that. And we also created an ERM outage subcommittee. As we're coming into some of these more bigger, complicated projects, we just put a group together with our scheduler planner and a variety of other people to go through those outages from both an operations, maintenance, and sales standpoint. So that has come to you guys for approval already. So talking about this agreement with Shell, we call it the EMSA for short. It's the Energy Marketing Services Agreement. This was our newest contract that we updated April 1st of 2023. Again, going through, it updated those CAISO revenue share calculations, gave us the more independence, and removed some of these legacy tasks and obligations that we aren't doing anymore now that we have changed how we do our daily operations with the development of our operator crystal ball, or OCB. It's a daily meeting that we have with anywhere from 5 to 15 staff members to go through and determine what we're going to do in the next day for the market. And we actually had that meeting at 8:30 this morning. We have it every single day, and it's run by staff on the weekends and holidays. So we removed some things we're not doing with that anymore. So now we'll go into the two main parts of our revenue. The first one that has been the bulk of our revenue in the past is the CAISO market. This is the wholesale grid that manages about 80% of California's grid. They're the ones who manage everything, the PG&E, Southern California, Edison. There are only a handful of locations that are not part of the CAISO grid. A few of them are including SMUD, Imperial Irrigation down south, Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, among a few others. So it's where we sell most of our power to, goes straight to the CAISO wholesale grid. And we have 3 different markets that we operate in. One's the day ahead market. That's the bulk of our revenue from the CAISO. That's our daily schedule for the next day. There's always a phrase, the day ahead stays in the day ahead. So we're always looking to the next day. That gives us our schedule for how we're going to operate. Then we go into the real-time market. That's a 15-minute and a 5-minute market that makes sure that there's enough power on the grid to keep the lights on. That's another market that operates constantly. Very much, best way to equate it is something like the stock market. It's constantly moving. Every 5 minutes a new price is released, and they're moving generators all around the state up and down to keep the grid functioning online. And we operate in that market because we're so flexible compared to a lot of other energy types. And then there's the ancillary services market. That is also how they regulate to make sure the grid stays online. That is a market that is slowly getting more developed with the battery technology because they can dispatch so quickly. So they're able to help maintain the grid instability and that kind of stuff. But we still do participate in that market, just at a lower level in recent years. And I'm going to turn it back over to Creighton to talk about the bilateral products that he works on. And we work together on those contracts, but he's kind of our front man salesman. So Creighton, back to you.
Thanks, Andy. And so as part of the bilateral agreements, we work in a team together. So Andy is part of that team. In addition to that is John James, Curtis Crawford, and then also Carl as well, your operating manager. So as a team, we evaluate the sales of these bilateral products. And we've talked about these, and I'll go through them really quickly because we've talked about them in other meetings. But if you have any questions as I go through them quickly, just let me know. Resource adequacy is reliability. It's insurance, essentially, that load-bearing entities or entities that are scheduling electricity buy on the market to make sure they can keep the lights on, just in case anything happens, their load goes above what they had planned. Carbon-free credits, that is coming from our units, Colgate 1, 2, and Narrows 2, and we've discussed this before. Entities buy this because it is a cheaper alternative than the renewable energy credits, and it's a policy they passed that they want to be carbon-free. And then renewable energy credits is a policy passed by the state that these load-bearing entities like SMUD or PG&E, a certain amount of their power have to come from these renewable energy credits. Any questions on that?
I would like to make a comment that this is an extremely profitable ventures the agency has got into because nobody looks after your dollars better than your own people. And though Shell helped us do a lot of early marketing, our team has taken that expertise to a level higher, and it shows our bottom line. And I'd just like to compliment everyone in the agency that participates in this.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of time learning, and Shell was a big part in that as we moved through this and helping us through that. And then everyone else in the market that we talk to and our team who works on it as well on a nonstop basis. And the door's always open with them, Willie as well, when I have to come in and give them ideas or tell them what's going on. And they ask me questions and I run back and hopefully can get all those answers. But things have worked out. And so really appreciate it. So want to give you a little background. Again, we said we're here for 23 and 24. Really what, again, we want to show you the numbers, but I want you to see the difference between 23 and 24 and the relationship in the market. We did well in the CAISO market, but it was 73% of the market in what we did. And then the other revenue is going to go ahead and it's going to be those bilateral products that the ones I just talked about, RA, carbon-free, and renewable energy credits. A good year in 23, a lot of generation. Coming off a drought. So as we were coming out off the drought, we had high prices in February, or sorry, high prices in January. They fell off in February. The reason for that is we are tied to natural gas price a lot of the times within the market. And so the natural gas price that is taken is usually the price that we get as well. And during that time, due to many different variables, the natural gas price was quite high that year. And since that time, we've seen it gone down other than a couple of events. But at that time, that December of 21 and then the January of 22 was quite good. But in addition to that, we were running full load in 23 just because of just the rain that was happening. And some of those products we do well when we just look at generation in itself. Carbon-free would be one of those. And then we saw mild prices later in 23 with average rain and snowfall levels. But what I really want to show you, flip within the market. What we saw within the CAISO revenue was a tampering of the market. Again, lots of natural gas in the market, good prices, lower prices for natural gas. And in addition to that, more batteries on the market, stabilizing the market there. And then a flip with the bilateral products. We saw coming to the end of a compliance period for RECs and some changes that happened with RA rules. And we saw probably the height of that market because of that. We're seeing a change in that right now, just talking to different brokers and individuals out in the market. We haven't gone out to the market for 26 yet, but what we're seeing is indications of a lowering market because we're in a new compliance period, so people are not as eager to go out and buy right now. One broker told me it's like a college kid doing their term paper. If you have a compliance period from year 1 to year 3, they might wait till year 3 to buy all what they need, right? So putting it off until the end. So there's not a lot of eagerness to be out in the market, and it's not pressing up prices because of that. And one of those things that we see right away is carbon-free. We're very conservative in that, so we only sell a little bit up front, and then we're out into the open market as we produce more, and we've seen the price go down on there as well. And it's influenced by the RECs as well. So, but 24 we did well, and we usually sell a year ahead, and so 25 is going to be a good year too. But we'll see what happens in 20 and 26. But again, generation was not bad. In 24 at 1.5, not as good as 23, but not too many years were better than 23 when it comes to generation. So we did well. We did have one natural gas spike on MLK weekend that helped out. But again, what we saw was just a lowering of prices in the market for a lot of different reasons. A lot of solar generation. And when we have solar generation in the middle of the day and we're having to move water, that affects us. There can be negative prices because of that. And due to that, we have to be operating those hours. So we're affected by that. Lots of natural gas in the system. So it was a lower price for natural gas. And so some of those summer events, we didn't see high prices either in the market. And again, average rainfall and mild prices through the winter as well. Any questions?
On the negative prices, is that for the 5-minute market? Is that for the 1-day market? Usually we're seeing negative prices. Is it both equally? Where's the negative prices at?
It's both. So
Okay.
what you'll see is in the day ahead as well. And a lot of times we can avoid being out of that. But when we're in flood control and we're having to run water through the system, then we're affected by those prices.
So when we run water through this system, we have to generate electricity from it. There's not a way in which we can run it through and not generate?
There is a way, and that would be spill the equal amount of water. That gets difficult when you have ramping rates below Eagle Bright. Normally when you're in that scenario, Englebright's spilling, so any change you make to the Colgate generators or the spill or combination thereof, you're at risk of violating your ramping rates at the gauge below Englebright. We could try it. It might work, but for the risk, I don't know that it's worth it. The reality is we do see negative prices in the middle of the day and many days, and primarily in the months of the late part of April and May. But the day is positive overall. So if you try to decrease your generation, let's say from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., you're just going to turn around and try and increase it back in the evening and then into the next morning. So you're doing this ramp on a daily basis just to avoid some negative prices, whereas the prices are positive overall in the day. So we stay in the market. We may at some point in time, especially with additional solar and battery generation, we may see negative prices for a longer period as the market develops. We're seeing changes right now with negative prices and battery penetration on ancillary service products. As we see that, we may see periods, let's just say right around May 1st, where we have a week that's negative, net negative. That might be a time when we try to decrease the generation and actually spill around that event. But it would have to be for a long period of time for us to justify the switch from generating to spilling water. Sorry for the detailed answer, but that's...
No, it's just, on the 5 minute, I can understand not being able to be flexible enough to change it on the 5 minute forecast, and we're going to take losses there. But on the 1 day forecast, it would seem that the ramping would be able to be something that we could do. My second question was in regards to the natural gas issues. Is the refinery issues only going to be affecting gas prices in cars, or is it also going to be affecting the situation where we provide, as a competitor, energy? Various refineries are closing down in California, and it's going to cause a reduction.
I don't know if that'll affect the natural gas. I'm not quite certain on that, but I know that there's been some changes within the state, which has allowed for more natural gas in the system. So when it comes to some of the storage facilities as well, so that helped out in that during that time period. On the negative prices as well, and we're tracking those per Willie. We're tracking that within the market and how it's changing, and it's dynamic because of batteries and where batteries are, and how much are coming on and when they're operating and when they're cycling. So it's really dynamic, but we're all asking questions about it and seeing how we can react to it. So thank you.
Through the chair. Yep. I also had a question on the negative pricing. Are you guys looking at options for us to take in our own power, like battery power, to charge in those hours to kind of offset that loss on the negative pricing period, so you don't have to ramp down and ramp back up? You can just charge your batteries during that time, then sell it back when it's higher. I mean,
do you want me to take that? Okay. Yeah, we are. We have studies looking at batteries and what times they should be working and how many times they should be cycling in the market. So yes, we are, and we're seeing looking at that relationship and the change in the market with how much solar is on and when batteries are coming on. But we are, and John and I have different studies going on right now.
Okay, and then my second question was...
Can I add to that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
In addition to that, and that's a great question about batteries and offloading some of our surplus generation into batteries. In addition to that, we're looking at, I'll remind the board, we, as Andy described, currently for our actual generation, that's where the negative prices come into place. The actual generation, either day ahead, 15-minute or 5-minute market, we only sell in the CalISO market, the wholesale market. We don't have any direct customers, bilateral customers. However, we are looking at customers that have a baseload demand. So at some point in time, we may bring you a proposal to sell a certain strip of our generation to a customer that has a baseload demand that doesn't spike up and down with solar and the ramp in the evening like on a normal day in the springtime. So that's another way to absorb or take in or sell the surplus megawatts. I just want to let you know, not only are we looking at batteries, we're looking at a way to manage this through actual customers.
Okay.
Not retail customers, we're talking wholesale customers.
Yeah.
Could I ask another different question? I know you've stated the, I guess the cushion in Englebright is limited by the boat dock's ability to go up and down because of their sewer lines. And when we have an energy event that spikes up very highly, having the ability to have more storage space in Englebright would be a major financial gain. I'm just wondering how that study has been coming.
We've talked about this in the past, Director Matthews. There are significant infrastructure improvements that would need to be made by the Army Corps and the Marina for us to use more than about 10 feet of operational storage we use in Englebright. We're constantly looking at those issues, but currently we maximize the operational space that we do have. We forecast days ahead. These are primarily heat events that we see in days ahead with our weather forecasting, and that's what the OCB team does. And we take full advantage of the 7,500 to 8,000 acre feet of operational storage we do have. So you're right in your operational strategy, but we are limited by the boat docks or the marina itself.
Thank you. And just one more question. So I saw in 2023 we had 2 million megawatts ish produced, and then 2024 there was 1.5 million. Could you explain to me what the big difference is there? Like, did we hold back power, or did we have water delivery issues? Were we down? And then what's our 2025 looking like? I'm sure you're estimating that.
Yep. That's all hydrology. It all depends on how much rain and snow we get. So our range is between about 600,000 megawatt hours a year in a serious drought year, and our max is about what you saw in 23, about a little over 2 million. There is a max theoretical max that you could get through our system, and you could keep adding water, you could keep adding snowpack, you keep adding precipitation, but once you start significant spills, you can't use that water for generation, so it kind of gets to a spot and everything else is surplus that just spills. So that's about, I think we've done slightly more than 2 million, but that's about our max. And then our low is just based on drought and based on minimum, every acre feet, what you don't put through the generators, you don't make. So, to summarize, 23 was an awesome year. You saw that, 2 million megawatt hours. 1.5 million megawatt hours is a pretty dang good year. It's a couple 100,000 megawatt hours above average. Average is somewhere between 1.2 and 1.4 million. So both years are really good. 23 is bad.
And then looking at average at this year, the team is getting together and figuring out from an operational perspective with tunnel outage, the best place for it to be. So, with them making that decision, anywhere within that, the range that Willie said, it'll end up probably in that average range, 1.2, 1.4.
Thank you.
But they're planning for the next year, so figuring that out.
Add a little more. So for example, on a weekly basis, I'll get into this in my report, but I'll say something like, we're at 115% of normal storage year to date. When I say those things, that's pretty close to what we would be on a megawatt hour average for that year. So, that's the correlation. So you can see as we go through the year, as I report these weekly, that's going to correlate to how many megawatts. That's generally.
So slightly different economics macro question. We talked before about how regulations and policies with all of the non-actual generation income, but you mentioned today that the gas laws, as far as requirements and putting into the system as a competitor for us, was also being regulated, and that created that demand in 23. Because of that legal change, it created less demand in 24. And so our actual generation numbers also are affected by those policies and legal decisions. So I guess my question is, and this is going to be outside of your scope, so it's just a guess that I'm looking for. To what degree is our generation, can they make another policy change in allowing more competition or allowing more imports? And would that have our income on the CAISO side if they were to make it more unrestricted, or versus if they obviously made it more restricted, that would increase our income? What would the effect possibly be there? What is the baseline economics?
So I'll take that one, Director Fuhrer. I'm going to simplify it, and you're right. There are regulations that could have significant impacts to the markets that we sell into, whether it's the generation market, the actual megawatts, or the bilateral products. We have seen that in the 9 years we've been out from under PG&E. We've seen it to the benefit side, and we could easily see it to the detriment side to our bottom line. Overall, as long as we skate through the future, so 2025 to 2045, SB 100, which was legislation from I think 2018 or 19, it's the legislation that requires a certain amount of renewable generation, and there's stages, there's milestones over the years, and it's been modified so many times I don't remember it, I can't cite it to you. But what I do know is by 2045, the goal is to have all energy in California be from carbon-free sources. All of our sources are carbon-free. Only narrows one is renewable energy credit, but all of it is carbon-free. So if you just equate this to a supply and demand, between now and 2045, regulations could change where, natural gas is in a surplus because we're weaning stove tops and heating in, California off of natural gas and going electric, whatever. So we may see a surplus of natural gas for a period of time. But if SB 100 sticks and we truly are going to be off of carbon-based fuel sources in California, which would be natural gas, the demand for anything that's not carbon-based is going to go up. So we may see some volatility between now and then, but ultimately we should see a high demand for our generation by 2045. How that plays out between now and then modifications that are made to SB 100 between now and then, we'll be watching and will be significant. I'll give you an example. We have this aspirational legislation, SB 100, carbon-free by 2045. Here's a parallel. PG&E's Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant was supposed to be shut down 2 years ago, 24 for one unit, 2025 for the next unit. It was extended. That was major decision by PG&E to shut it down, but the state came in and said, we need that generation, okay? So if we don't have the ultimate generation by 2045, what do we think would happen to the natural gas plants in California that are scheduled to be shut down by 2045? But if we don't have the alternate generation, what do we think would happen based on what we saw with Diablo? So I'm just giving you the large picture of everything we look at from the day ahead in the 5 minute and the 20 years out.
And I guess my question about the SB 100 is that I believe Congress just obviated a requirement to get rid of cars based on internal combustion in California. And they could likewise do the same thing, I assume, with SB 100 and say, nope, you're going to be having a market that's open to natural gas. And so what are the restrictions and limitations that are currently in place that create this higher price for us in CAISO? If those were to go away, what would the natural economy CAISO price be? If we did $20 average, I think in this month in your managers report for a CAISO unit, what would without economic distortion, the natural price be? Would it be $10? What would that number be?
I would say it would be somewhere around, so if you're just looking at the generation and you took the bilateral products out and any type of regulatory, let's call it an artificial demand, I think we would be somewhere near where we were this last, let's call it calendar year, from May of last year to May of this year. There has been ample natural gas. Yes, there is a current, I think, 30% renewable requirement right now, but that's all being met by solar, and solar is built and it will exist. So I think if we started today and we stripped away the bilateral requirement and we stripped away any risk of a change from regulation, I think the last calendar year is a good indication of what it costs to generate based on natural gas. Because there's a cost to natural gas too. You have a $3 per MMBTU cost for the fuel, and then you have X amount of operations and maintenance and long-term capital in a natural gas plant. I think you've kind of seen what that hourly market is. It's not great. I mean, Creighton showed what we now make. It kind of reversed. We were making more on generation a couple years ago than we were in bilateral projects. Now it is reversed. We're making more on bilateral and less on generation. If that's the generation revenue we see in the future, it would not be great for Yuba-Sutter. I think that's where you were going, and I think
yeah. So I was curious. So this last year at $20 an hour, or this last month at $20, that is about the most base economic, no distortion, natural situation.
With that for that month, I'm sorry. Well, you would need to look at the calendar year. So yeah, there's going to be better months than last month. April and May are kind of the worst months.
Yeah. And in perfect variables, this in 24, right? So you didn't have gas lines going down. You had extra storage put into the system, whereas in 23 you had issues with some lines. Aliso Canyon in Southern California, they lowered the storage amount. They increased that. And other variables that are outside the United States, geopolitical things that are happening outside the United States affected that. So in 2023, just a lot of things went wrong. The price went up. And then in 24, you had lines that worked, you had more storage, and again, just a lot of natural gas in the system. So supply and demand, a lot of supply, and it brought the price down quite a bit. So, but good questions.
All right. Any other questions? Do you have more to present, Craig?
That's it. Yep.
Well, I appreciate all the dialogue.
Yeah, that's great.
Just some final thoughts. I appreciate all the questions. This, as Director Matthews mentioned, a significant portion of our revenue comes from this kind of aspect of our business. We have absolutely evolved. We've been doing this for 9 years now, since 2016, and we've absolutely evolved. Director Matthews was right. Shell Energy helped us get off the ground, but the team has learned. The team has advanced. I mean, they have a 9-year, what I'll call like a 9-year doctorate in energy sales, in real actual sales. And it's not just one person. It's not just Creighton sitting in a room learning the stuff. And if we lost Creighton, we don't have the information. We have an entire team from various parts of the agency working on this. And I think we've been successful in it. We will continue to watch all the kind of variables that Director Fuhrer just kind of threw at us that could impact our revenue. We'll continue to watch that and monitor it and take action accordingly. But I think the agency's done a great job, and I appreciate Director Matthews kind of complimenting Creighton and team for this evolution in sophistication. And thanks for the question.
Right. Well, thank you, Creighton. Andy, glad your internship worked out. Okay, manager's report.
All right, so speaking of Director House's question about the variability in our megawatt hour production, we're in another good water year. New Bullard's Bar is full. It's kind of peaked over the weekend. When we say peaked, it's not like it goes up and one day it's at the top and then 2 days later it's feet lower. It kind of comes up slowly and gradually. It hits 1955 or close to 1955 feet in elevation, and then we kind of bring it down a little bit, and then we just kind of hover there, and it slowly comes down through the irrigation season. So if you want to recreate with the reservoir full, the next few weeks are the time to see it. The last couple of weeks are the time to see it as well, but the next few weeks are the time to see it. You can't tell 6 inches to 2 feet of elevation change. When it's full, it looks awesome. It takes 5 or so feet to be able to kind of know a significant difference. But at any rate, it's a great water year. We probably won't have the 2 million megawatt hours this year. I think Director Fuhrer asked that question, but we'll have somewhere between average and will be a good year of production. The team did a great job of working with the Army Corps of Engineers with managing the flood pool through the spring. So we were able to not spill significantly. So we were able to capture the spring runoff as best possible and most efficiently as possible. So the bottom line, we're doing good with water supply. In April, I do have the April monthly, and so the April monthly generation revenue reports. I'll just say it this way. Both the generation, the actual megawatts we produced, the revenue we got there was less than the forecast. And also the bilateral products were less than forecast. Both products are seeing less price per metric per megawatt hour or per kilowatt month if it's RA. We didn't miss it significantly. I mean, we were at 4.5 million in actual revenue from CalISO. Our forecast was 5.7. And then on the bilateral projects, our forecast was 13.8 and we generated 11.4. So slight miss. And remember, we have revised how we do our forecasting. We use an average of the previous 3 years. The previous 3 years were pretty dang good on both sides of the market. So we're starting to see a slight decline. And I will also give you this. Director Fuhrer mentioned the federal government said you can't ban internal combustion cars. There is kind of a sentiment going through the energy, let's just call it the energy industry, that renewable type products are going to be less needed in, let's say, the next 4 years, just based on what's going on in the nation, okay? So when we see like a carbon-free product that's not a regulatory required product for any balancing authority to purchase, we saw some pretty high prices for those products the last few years. You're probably not going to see those high prices because it's a voluntary market and there's less pressure to be, let's say, renewable or green. I don't have a metric for you other than sense that we get when we see transactions. Okay, I'll leave that at that. That's still good revenue for the month of April. On May 28th, we had California Division of Safety of Dams out. They looked at Lake Francis Dam and New Golden Bar Dam. No major items of note. Some minor things that we either fixed on site at the time or fix in the next few weeks. I want to compliment Tim and his team on that. As you know, Tim at our last board meeting gave us the dam update, dam safety update, the annual dam safety update. Same crew, same team as well on these inspections. I'm not surprised we came through that with no major findings. Power system headquarters is nearly done. I mean, we're at the point where furniture is arriving and we're kind of doing the final touches. The team tells me late this month or early July will actually be in there. We have a more specific date, but I'm not going to tell you it. But things are going well. Colgate tunnel outage. We're basically planning. Our next milestone is the final. Yes, we're ready to go. Contractors in place, materials on site. We're ready to drain the tunnel. So that's sometime in September. I do want to point out, I put a photo in the manager's report. This is 2 days ago. This is Sunday. This is at the machine shop down somewhere in the Adelanto. That's the biggest piece of penstock that you ordered or purchased and had fabbed up. It's 14 feet in diameter, it's 20 feet long. It's going on a heavy haul semi truck. I think I reported last board meeting about the route it was going to take, and we're having some difficulties with permits and all that. It's a significant endeavor just to get that piece of equipment from Southern California to our facility at Colgate. It can't go on Interstate 5. It needs to go through Nevada. It goes up through around by Lassen, comes down through Redding, comes down through Butte County and up town because it has bridge restrictions and it has a weight restriction on 5. So Aaron Esselman, the mechanical engineer who's running this part of the project, told me today the shipper, the hauler that's contracted to move the equipment or move that penstock has to get a permit from every county, city, or municipality that the truck goes through. So we're talking about, I'm just going to use a local example, Butte County and the city of Chico. And that's just that one stretch that it has to go through. So if it goes through Redding, it's going to be the city of Redding and Shasta County and so on. And it goes all through Nevada, it goes through Reno, it goes all up the east side of the Sierra. So just getting that to our site is a significant endeavor. I thought you'd appreciate a picture. Bottom line, it's built. It's on its way right now, which is good.
What does it weigh?
44 tons, so 88,000 pounds. Your standard semi truck, max gross vehicle weight. Director Matthews, because you haul rice all over the countryside, is 80,000 pounds. So just this piece of equipment is 88,000 pounds. Then you add the truck and the trailer weight. We're talking somewhere around 115 to 125,000 pounds going on. I feel like a little kid playing with my Hot Wheels when I talk about this thing. So just so you know, this is like the fun part of the job. Not that selling energy isn't. Sorry to dwell on that so much. We had the mini hydro out for annual maintenance. We brought it back. It tripped offline late in the evening. It's a minor generating asset, so we have left it out of service because we currently have Narrows 1 out of service. It's more critical for our water delivery and revenue, so I got the team working on Narrows 1, and we will get back to the mini hydro once or we'll get up there and test it. Right now, Narrows 1 came out of service for annual outage yesterday, so they're focused on Narrows. To further emphasize my point to Director House, not that it's needed, but I will. We're at 115% of normal year to date for Bullard's Bar inflow. So that'll indicate that that's going to get a pretty decent year. It's going to be hot the next 6 to 10 days, but not like it was last Friday and Saturday. We're shifting back to a La Nina condition. I haven't got to sit down with John James and have him explain to me. We went from La Nina. I thought we'd end up going to El Nino, but it looks like we're going back to La Nina. So it's an interesting temperature regime in the Pacific right now. So I don't know what that means with drought or flood or anything like that, but it's interesting. There's a reason why we give that graph to you every week. At some point in time, maybe by the time I end my career, we'll have a correlation too. We have a bunch of jobs out on the street soliciting for new hires in various positions. And since I last reported to you, we've onboarded 5 employees. One is another intern success story. Sam Stoner, he's a hydrologist who officially started full-time on April 24th. He was an intern, I believe, last summer, and you'll remember him from his end of summer presentation to the board. So welcome, Sam. Sean Spanny is an environmental specialist. She started on May 5th. Andrew Schwartz is an operator trainee who started on May 5th as well. And Matt Allensworth is an actual journeyman operator who started on May 27th. And then Dominique Wiltermood, he's an information security analyst, started yesterday. Oh, cool. Dominique, are you here? Dominic, welcome aboard, brother. Okay, this is the only one I haven't met of the group. I've seen him sitting out there. Sorry that I didn't say hi earlier. Welcome aboard. I mean, he just started yesterday. We have an intern, Aiden Long. Is Aiden? Aiden Long is Creighton's intern. He started May 19th. And then we had a promotion. Tony Adov, information security analyst, has been promoted to information systems analyst. We've had no separations or retirements, but I will point out the 2 operator positions I just mentioned are in preparation for 2 retirements. One is happening next week. Tim Warda, if I don't talk to you and you're listening, I know he's not. It's been great. Tim is moving to Tennessee and California. And then I know that's official. I've got that email. I won't mention the other person's name because I don't know if he's made it official, but it's going to happen in September, and that's why we backfilled for him. Okay, as a revised communications update, communications and community relations. The grants awarded during our last meeting were featured on Ubanet, KUBA, and the Appeal Democrat. The Sacramento Bee did a follow-up story on the Nature Like Fishway that was a really detailed explanation of the concerns of the anglers and the science that gives the state the confidence that this project will be a net benefit for the species. I highly recommend reading it if you haven't seen it. It was in the Sacramento Bee last Thursday originally, and then it was a front page Sacramento Bee article on Sunday, not highly changed from Thursday to Sunday. It was a well-rounded article. The headline will grab you. It's an extreme headline, but when you read the article, it's well-rounded, and it does do a lot of explaining the benefits of the proposed project. And we're talking about the Nature Like Fishway here. This is the new part that I was just made aware of this morning. The Bear Yuba Land Trust mentioned our funding support in a press release yesterday about a controlled burn they plan to begin this weekend at Rice's Crossing Preserve along the Yuba Rim Trail. The smoke from this burn Saturday, weather permitting, is likely to be seen from Camptonville, Dobbins, New Bullards Bar, and North San Juan. So prescribed burn downstream of Bullards. So that's good for the natural fire regime and fire prevention. And as we all know, we have a great relationship with Bear Yuba Land Trust, and we promote them doing this type of activity. Last week, we issued our quarterly newsletter, which was distributed to our subscriber list of more than 2,200 people. The communications and environmental teams are working on a campaign to encourage recreators to thoroughly clean, drain, and dry all vessels before putting them in any new waterway in an effort to prevent the spread of the highly invasive golden mussels. There's a lot of information about it on our website if you have any questions from your constituents. And we're sponsoring the air show at Beale Air Force Base this weekend. I'll just let you know there's probably more to come with the golden mussels. There is no regulatory requirement to do anything. Various water or reservoir operators throughout the state have a various level of inspection and decontamination. Our team has been working diligently on the right level of inspection and or decontamination. We'll very likely bring this be bringing this board some type of procedure we'll implement, and it may be as early as the next board meeting on the 17th. So if you do have any questions between now and then, our website has a lot of information, or get a hold of me and we can answer those questions, but we will likely be asking you to approve us to implement something more than just clean, drain, dry. Okay. Upcoming meetings, we have an ABP today. We have a special ABP June 11th, and then we have a regular board meeting on June 7th. Thanks for your patience.
Great. Any questions, Willie? Okay, director's reports. We'll start down here with Wayne.
A couple things today. First of all, we had a Cal Poly dinner a week and a half ago that several of you attended, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the staff who attended and supported and helped plan the event. And really the highlight, or one of the highlights, certainly was the presentation from Terry and Ryan about the Applied Research Center. So it was just exciting to hear the momentum that has, and was an uplifting event in my mind. And looks like it will become an annual event. We'll probably continue to allow people who were educated at other places, you know, quasi Cal Poly universities and other things like that. Anyway, good, nice event. You. The other thing since Jackie brought this up, thank you, Jackie, about the Lucas CPR device in Wheatland. I've unfortunately had a few opportunities to watch the Wheatland Fire Authority at work. And one of those times they saved my mother's life. And she's had so far 13 more years of life since that incident. So when we had a chance to participate in this purchase of equipment, we thought about that and thought, we hope they never have to use it, but if they do, we hope another family has an outcome like we had. And thinking about that here today, I realized that it's really what all of our grants are about, is better outcomes in Yuba County, whether it be safety-wise or educationally, or reliable water supply. All these things are about better outcomes for people in Yuba County, and it's a pleasure to be a part of that.
Thank you. Charlie?
Not much to report other than that the great compliment to the entire staff for the way you operate our agency.
Gary?
Just echo Director Bishop's comments about the Cal Poly to Fork dinner. In addition to thanking staff and the amazing work they did, I want to thank Director Bishop for hosting and providing some of the items, and also the other farmers and other businesses in the community that contributed to the dinner. And thank you for allowing those of us who did not graduate from Cal Poly to attend, and not making me wear a silly hat, which I heard was a possibility. So we'll see if I can skate through next year without silly hats. So
Great. Andy?
Well, I did the Memorial Day ceremony at the Marysville Cemetery. It's the only holiday during the year that we celebrate for those who paid the ultimate price for our freedom. So there's over 1 million people have given their lives for your freedoms. Thank you.
Rennick?
Yeah, this week I have the honor of attending a lot of different graduations in our county at Lyndhurst High School, Marysville High School, all the middle schools. And I just want to continue to stress that I'd love to see our county's programs. I know we've developed programs with Yuba College, but I'd love to see them pushed into the schools where they have a pathway right out of high school, right into Yuba College. It's hard to see all those kids and know that half of them are going to go on to school, half of them are going to or some of them are going to go to work, and some of them are going to end up on the street. So anything we can do to improve their lives while we have the ability to do so, I think we should do it. And then just if you guys have the chance to congratulate a graduating senior and offer them anything, any education about what Yuba-Water does and pathways to spark their imagination as they're making choices to go to college or go to work, it'd be great if you could share that with them. So please do take the time to congratulate a senior.
Seth? Nothing? Well, I don't have much either, but I'll follow that up with, I have 3 graduating seniors Friday. My youngest 3 children the triplets are graduating, so it would be nice to see at least one of them get motivated into doing something. The other 2, I think, are well on their way to their career path. So with that, we will take a 15-minute recess and then go into closed session.
Recording stopped.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Yuba-Sutter, alive. It's the truth that comes through.